Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to unpack one of the most critical challenges and honestly, one of the most massive opportunities of our time. And that's mastering the 2026 job market. If you're a focused learner looking to not just survive, but absolutely thrive as artificial intelligence fundamentally reshapes the workplace, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down the hard data, the emerging frameworks, and the precise step-by-step skills you need to future-proof your career. So, let's get started. But first, we really need to address the elephant in the room. And it is a stark reality. 55,000. According to HowWorks data, AI caused nearly 55,000 U.S. layoffs in 2025 alone. To put that into perspective, we've seen major companies like Klarna reduce their entire workforce by 40%. They essentially replaced massive swaths of customer service and operational execution with AI agents, which drastically lowered their costs, sure, but completely upended those jobs. And we're even seeing AI-first companies hiring one-third fewer product managers than traditional tech sectors. So listen, if you've been feeling anxious about your career trajectory lately, your concern is completely legitimate. The landscape is shifting rapidly right beneath our feet.
However, here is the empowering truth, and it really forms the core thesis of our explainer today. As this quote from HowWorks perfectly captures, AI isn't eliminating professions, it's splitting them. What we are witnessing isn't some mass extinction of jobs, but a great bifurcation. Every single profession right now is developing two parallel tracks, an AI-replaced version that's becoming redundant and a highly valuable AI-augmented version. Think of a copywriter, right? The version that just writes generic blog posts? Yeah, they're being replaced by AI. But the augmented version, the copywriter who uses AI to curate a highly distinct, deeply researched brand voice, they are thriving. And the difference between those two paths? It usually comes down to just one critical layer of skill depth.
Section 1. Execution versus judgment.
So, what exactly is that layer of skill depth? Well, to understand how to get on the right side of this split, we have to look at a fundamental paradigm shift in what organizations actually value today. We are moving from a world that heavily rewarded execution to a world that desperately needs judgment. On the execution side, you've got tasks like writing first drafts, generating standard UI components, running sprint planning meetings, or producing high volumes of SEO content. AI automates this side beautifully, instantly, and incredibly cheaply. But shift your focus over to the judgment side. This is deciding the overall strategy, evaluating the actual quality and nuance of an AI's output, and designing user experiences for probabilistic uncertainty. Now, what does probabilistic uncertainty mean? Simply put, it's designing for an AI that might give a completely different, slightly unpredictable answer every single time you ask it a question. AI literally cannot do this kind of strategic judgment. So if your primary value at work is stuck in execution, you're at risk. You absolutely must aggressively move your skill set up the value stack to the judgment side.
Section 2. The power of nested skills.
So how exactly do we build this irreplaceable human judgment? It certainly doesn't happen by accident. To figure this out, we're going to look directly at some fascinating new research from Harvard Business School on how human capital is actually developed. The HBS research identifies something called nested structures. I want you to think of this kind of like a sapling growing into a massive, mighty tree. The broad fundamental human skills, the stuff we casually use to brush off as soft skills, those are the solid, thick trunk of that tree. The specific advanced technical skills like programming in Python or mastering graphic design software, those are the branches that sprout from the trunk. You cannot grow strong, heavy branches without a deep foundational trunk to support them. If the trunk is weak, those technical branches will eventually just snap under pressure. This means your technical abilities are completely 100% dependent on your underlying human skills.
So the crucial point is identifying what actually makes up that strong trunk. Here are the top high-income workplace skills identified by Coursera for 2026. Analytical thinking, agility, leadership, creative thinking, motivation, and, get this, active listening. Yes, it turns out actually listening to your coworkers is now a high-income economic driver. These aren't just nice-to-haves or HR buzzwords anymore. They are serious economic drivers. In fact, the Harvard researchers found a staggering statistic. Nearly 80% of the wage premium you get for having specific technical skills actually depends entirely on these foundational trunk skills. The hidden architecture behind a massive high salary in tech is essentially your mastery of these deeply human traits.
Section 3. Building architectural literacy.
Let's see how this builds into our next concept. You have your trunk of soft skills. Now, how do you actually apply that to modern technology? You don't need to suddenly become a full-stack software engineer, but you do need what we call architectural literacy. This is the absolute new technical baseline required across all industries. Let's walk through exactly what this looks like in practice. If you are a product manager, AI now automates writing your specs and summarizing user research. Your human judgment means you now own the evaluation frameworks, defining what good AI output actually looks like, and most importantly, the kill decision. The kill decision is that powerful executive choice of what not to build, saving millions in wasted engineering time. AI can't make that call. For designers, AI generates hundreds of UI and asset variations in seconds. The human designer must now focus on handling AI hallucinations, edge cases, and steering the user experience gracefully when the AI gets it completely wrong. And for marketers, AI produces massive content volume. The human marketer must own brand intuition and answer engine optimization. That means structuring content so it gets cited by conversational AI search engines, not just traditional Google links. In every single role, you surrender the execution to focus purely on architectural literacy and strategic intuition.
Section 4. Case Study, AI Ethics Officer.
To really cement this idea, I want to introduce you to the ultimate real-world embodiment of these concepts. We are going to look at one of the most strategically important and honestly hardest to fill new roles of 2026, the AI Ethics Officer. Just look at this number from TechJack Solutions, 98.5%. That is the percentage of organizations reporting a critical talent gap for AI governance professionals. Qualified ethics talent is exceptionally scarce right now. Why does this gap exist? Because the role requires a unicorn combination of technical literacy and deep human empathy that universities just haven't traditionally taught together. And because of that intense scarcity, this role commands a mid-level salary range of $120,000 to $180,000, with executive levels pushing well past $300,000.
No, what's really interesting is the background of the people stepping into these lucrative roles. It's not just computer scientists and software engineers. 40% do come from technology, but a massive 30% come from philosophy and ethics, and another 30% come from law. This perfectly illustrates our nested skills concept in action. The humanities and foundational soft skills are successfully invading high-paying tech roles because these organizations desperately need human judgment, critical thinking, and nuanced ethical reasoning to deploy their AI safely.
And you might be asking yourself, why on earth is the market willing to pay a philosophy major a massive tech salary? Well, it's because of this cold, hard market reality. $2.4 million. That is the average cost to a company for a single algorithmic bias incident in legal fees and severe reputation damage. The AI ethics officer isn't just a theoretical philosopher sitting in an ivory tower. They are a direct risk mitigator protecting the company's bottom line from catastrophic financial and regulatory damage.
So how do they actually do the job day to day? They flawlessly combine architectural literacy with those deeply human soft skills we talked about. An AI ethics officer uses technical explainability tools like SHAP and LIME. Think of these basically as X-ray tools that peek under the AI's hood to see exactly how the algorithm is making its decisions, weighing factors, and arriving at conclusions. But their true value, their absolute real superpower, is the nested skill of stakeholder diplomacy. They have to enforce major, complex legal rulebooks like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework and the EU AI Act. They have to get engineering, product, and legal teams to strictly adhere to these regulations without completely stalling critical product launches. Negotiating that balance requires elite communication, leadership, and, you guessed it, active listening. It is the purest form of human judgment applied directly to complex technology.
Section 5. Your 2026 Career Roadmap. So, how do we take all of this data, from the Harvard skill trees to the TechJack's role profiles, and actually apply it to your life? Here is a distilled 90-day sprint plan. It's kind of a secret playbook to get you securely on the right side of the AI split. Step 1. Build your foundation. Spend your first 30 days aggressively studying frameworks and building your architectural literacy. You need to understand how the AI products in your specific industry are actually built at a decision level. Step 2. Develop technical skills. Again, this doesn't mean learning to code. It means consistent, daily, hands-on AI use. For example, use AI to analyze your own weekly reports to see how the model thinks, or build a custom GPT to automate your most repetitive email replies. Apply AI to your existing daily workflows to automate your own execution tasks. Step 3. Credentialing. In months 2 and 3, acquire certifications that tangibly prove your judgment. If you're looking at governance, get the AIGP certification, which stands for Artificial Intelligence Governance Professional. The absolute fastest path to relevance in today's market is marrying your existing domain expertise with daily AI use and a thick, resilient trunk of soft skills.
Which brings us to our final thought.
The AI revolution isn't coming, it is already here, and it is ruthlessly efficient at automating the routine and the repetitive. But it has an absolute, undeniable blind spot for human intuition, strategic evaluation, and ethical diplomacy. So the most important question you have to ask yourself as you log off today is this: in the age of AI, will your career be defined by execution or judgment? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start cultivating those foundational skills today. See you next time.